I just got my nails done for Valentine's Day. I'm about to record a podcast interview where they want some beauty tips for Valentine's Day. So let's do a simple but fun glam for Valentine's Day. Hey, I'm Maybe Burke and you're watching Makeup for Lost Time. This is my series for trans women and other people who feel like they missed a few classes when it came to learning about makeup. I'm going to be using this color case Made by Mitchell because there's just the right pinks that I want to be using for it. Now, because these are creams, I'm going to be working with like really small detail brushes. These are going to help me get the intricate designs that I'm going to want to be using. But the first thing I'm going to do is scrape out a little bit of color on a spatula. I'm starting with the white and putting this on a palette so I have something to work off of. I'm just going to work it into the brush a little bit so that it's like coated but not overloaded. And I'm going to start by just drawing a little heart right over where my crease sits. Or I guess not a full heart, the top of a heart. And it's okay if it's messy, it's okay if it's not perfect, because the outside is going to blend out from this white and the inside we can clean up. I have this like sponge brush, or you can do it with like a Q-tip. I'm going to take this with a little bit of micellar water, and I cleaned up a bit too much, so I'm going to come back in to reinforce the center dip of that heart. I feel like creative looks like this and drawing shapes is really not my forte as a makeup artist, but it's also fun to expand your horizons a little bit. So now I'm just tapping out that white to give us a nice blend around the shape. So we have the stark inner line of the heart, but then around it we have a shadow. And that's just step one. I'm going to recreate it on the other eye. And I'm going to do this one kind of super messily so you can see you don't have to be like super intricate and skilled to get it to look the way you want it to. Right now we should have like negative space of a heart. This one's too small. So I'm taking more micellar water and I'm basically going to increase and enlargen where that outline is. See, now they're more symmetrical. And if you've been here before, you know that symmetry is really not my forte. And also like not super important to me. With my eyes, with my eyebrows, with my nose, with my face, symmetry is not really always an option. Okay, so we have a decent outline here, giving us the negative space of a heart that we can now fill in. And this is where the contrast is really gonna help sharpen those lines. And I'm gonna tap into this like really loud pink and working that on a palette into a brush. And this brush is nicely shaped to basically make the humps of the heart for me. So I'm essentially gonna stamp and drag, and that gave us a better heart than I could have drawn on my own. But we're not gonna leave it just as the heart shape on the bottom because the crease is where the bottom would sit. We're gonna blend that all the way down to the lash line. And then I'm gonna take this lighter pink across the lid and we'll blend that into the deeper pink. And I could stop here, but what I wanna do is really carefully come back in with this white and just sharpen the outline of those hearts. And then again, just tapping out the outer edge so that it doesn't look like quite a stark outline, but more of a glow shadow. And then from here, there's not a black color in that case. So I'm gonna take the Danessa Myricks ColorFix in Blackout, and I'm gonna use this as an eyeliner. And I'm gonna use this to give me a little wing right up to that heart and across through the lash line as I would typically do. And then I'm gonna take a little bit more of this pink that I used for the lid color, and this is just gonna come down underneath the eye. It already was in that inner corner, so I'm just connecting it underneath there. And then a little bit of the hot pink just on the outer third there. But what's really gonna sell it for me is the black right on the lash line and a white waterline, because I think that's cute as hell. And then we can move on to complexion. And here I'm gonna mix my peach and pink LA Girl Pro Conceals to neutralize underneath the eyes. And oh, you wanna go full coverage? With a full coverage foundation, I'm going to work that into the brush, take some time to really get a nice layer of it, and then stamp that in from the center of the face out. Full coverage doesn't mean it has to go on cakey. In fact, with full coverage, a thinner layer gives you a better result. Don't forget the neck and the ears, especially with full coverage. And then let's see, a Juvia's Place concealer, if we're sticking with full coverage. And I've already got peach under my eyes, so I'm using, this concealer is pretty light for me, but we'll work them together. I feel like with like the stark white in the eyeshadow, we want something brightening for the concealer. Taking this down the center of the face. And now blush. With how pink the eyes are, we're gonna start off with a light pink. I'm gonna use this on my hand too, mostly because I've run out of space on my palette. On this we're gonna take really high up so it kind of blends in with that corrector and helps blend out that lower eyeshadow before we quite blend everything together. My blushes don't really show up on this camera, and especially using a light one, I'm not sure what this is gonna look like, but I'm marrying that on the forehead and a little bit on the chin. Before I come back in with my foundation brush, I'm not dipping this back into any foundation, just using what's left on it to help blend everything together. Around the edges of that blush, up the center of the face where I dropped that concealer, and of course under the eyes. Now I'm gonna do another layer of the blush just to help it really pop, and because layers are our best friend. They say diamonds are a girl's best friend, but I think layers are a girl's best friend. And I'm going to use my concealer to tap out the edge of this white here, just so we have a smooth blend and not such a harsh, stark line. So I'm going to take this pinky blush with ColourPop, a little bit of that on the same blush brush, focusing that more on the apple of the cheek, so it blends into that softer Rare Beauty blush. Usually I would probably use the deeper color on the perimeter and a lighter color towards the center. If I want like a rosy apple look, I feel like this actually gives me a nice little blend. Again, not dipping my concealer brush into anything else, just using that to tap out that edge. I'm gonna take this concealer up here too, similar to how I tapped out the outer edge. I'm gonna use it to tap out the inner corner too, just so that eyeshadow is not blending into nothing. Cute! And then one more, these like glowy blushes from Rare Beauty. Taking a little bit of that just on the high point of the cheek. So I'm wearing 3 blushes. Sue me. This one doubles as a highlighter. Then I'm gonna keep it pretty simple on the lip. I'm gonna use this MAC liner that is basically my lip color. It's a great nude for me. It's basically just a punch up from the actual pigment of my lips. And then a little Maybelline vinyl lip. And this is also really similar to my lip color. Is it giving hearts or is it giving Mickey ears? Gonna spray this down. Did I not even do mascara? I have this mini of the Hourglass Caution mascara. It's actually good to do mascara after setting spray, I think, even though I seldom do. I'm also realizing it's good to do your mascara after setting spray because it gives your setting spray time to dry. Maybe I should be doing this more. The mascara's fine. Little powder under the eyes. Smile lines. And there we go. Something cute and fresh for Valentine's Day. It's a little elevated with like the hearts, but it's not super complicated. I'm far from a visual artist who like draws things on my face, and I did this pretty easily. Let me know if you want to see more creative looks like this, and stick around as we make up for lost time.